Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and we're going to compare Siri versus the new Google Assistant. Here we have the Google Pixel XL, and here we have the iPhone 7 Plus. So we're going to compare the latest versions. Siri has had a big upgrade basically since last year. Now it can interact with different apps if the developer chooses to do that. And Google Assistant is newer and has similar capabilities. It has more of an assistant similar to Siri, but I thought we'd compare the speed, compare how the information is presented, and basically their capabilities overall. So we'll ask it a series of questions, but the first thing I want to show you is the speed. Now we can activate both of these by holding the home button. So I'll do that. You can also activate them by voice, and I'll show you that in a moment. What's the weather today?
Okay, here's the weather for today. In Clover, it's predicted to be 73 degrees Fahrenheit and clear. Currently, it's 54 and clear.
You'll see that the weather popped up on both, presented differently, but Siri was a little bit faster there. Let's try it again and see if we get the same result. We're on the same Wi-Fi connection, and this is Project Fi. Here we have T-Mobile, but they're both technically using T-Mobile. So let's try it again. What's the forecast for next week?
Here's the forecast for Clover.
They both popped up pretty quickly there. So I think most of the time when you're using this, you'll be happy with the speed. Siri seems to be a little bit quicker most of the time lately. And I think Apple makes improvements as far as the speed goes. But you may find different results based on your network connectivity. Let's go back home. And you'll see we can activate this with voice activation. Both of them will work if the screens are off or on, but I'll just leave them on for this example. Hey Siri, who won the World Series?
The Cubs won the World Series 4-3 over the Indians. They won the last game 8-7.
Okay, Google, who won the World Series?
The World Series was won by the Chicago Cubs.
You'll see here we have a send feedback option also. This is new, so they want your feedback to know what kind of information it is and if it's accurate. So that's nice and built in as well. We do have some options with that on Siri here down in the bottom left also. Let's try another question. What's 100 times 15 divided by 72?
The answer is about 20.8333.
What's 100 times 15 divided by 72?
The answer is 20.833.
So you'll see both of them gave us the correct answer. They calculated it out for us and showed us how they got the result, basically. And Google's giving some suggestions down here of things we may want to try. So that's a little bit different as far as the information's presented, but we got the same result from both. Both of them have very good voice recognition, and I find in my own personal use that Google seems to understand different languages or different accents a little bit better than Siri. I haven't really had an issue with Siri myself, but I know others that say that they have. Let's try another question as well. Set an alarm for 4:30 a.m. tomorrow morning.
There, your alarm's set for tomorrow at 4:30 a.m.
Now, obviously, I'll want to change that, as that's pretty early for me. And sometimes Siri hiccups for some reason.
There's a problem. Can you try again?
Well,
Aaron, we've had a problem. Can you please try that again?
set an alarm for 4:30 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Setting the alarm.
So for some reason, this is giving me an issue. And I had an issue setting timers as well. And I'm not really sure why that is.
Something's wrong. Can you try again?
I'm not really sure why that is, but sometimes those things happen. However, that happens on Google sometimes too. So we may run into a couple of hiccups. Actually, when I was starting to record this video, it actually told me I was offline, but I had Wi-Fi and cellular connectivity. So I'm not exactly sure what that's all about, but both of them occasionally have issues like that. Let's try something a little bit different. Find the closest pharmacy.
I found a few places within 7.3 miles.
Find the closest pharmacy.
Okay, here's what I found.
As you see, we have one result from Apple, and it says Walgreens is the closest. I'd say that's pretty close. This one gave me different options. This is actually across the street from this one, so that's pretty close. And this is actually slightly closer, and there's a pharmacy in there as well. So we've got multiple options with Google, and that's a nice little option. And then here we have a map to where it is. So either is basically right. I do like that they have a little bit more options here, but they're presented a little bit different, and you have the option for more places here below, and it will show the map. So it's nice that you get multiple options here as well. Let's try it with something a little bit different, but similar. Find the closest gas station.
Okay, here's what I found a few places within 3.5 miles.
Now here is a BP. This is the same BP gas station, although it just says United Oil of the, and this one says BP, and then we have a couple different options as well. So that's nice also that we have those options. As far as from a user standpoint, I think that's good. Let's see if we can get some price information. Which one has the best price?
BP PLC ADR is trading at $33.55 a share after hours.
Which gas station near here has the best price?
I found 15 gas stations. Tap the one you are looking for.
So we really don't get the result we're looking for on either. I thought we'd try it and see what we come up with, and that's a little bit limited. But in certain situations, you can continue the conversation with either one of these. So the prices didn't work out. I wish they would, but let's try something a little bit different. We tried this last year when I did the Siri versus Google Now comparison. Both of them now have a personality, and I know this isn't something you're probably going to use regularly, but it's interesting to see how they react. So let's try this. How are you today?
I feel good.
How are you today?
Wonderful, thanks. What can I do for you?
What do you think of Bill Gates?
I'm not a great judge. What do you want to know about Bill Gates?
So you'll see it keeps the conversation going and keeps the voice recognition active. We'll try it over here too. What do you think of Bill Gates?
It's nice of you to ask, Aaron, but it doesn't really matter what I think.
Here it doesn't continue the conversation, so I'll have to actually hit the microphone again. That's not a big deal, but it's just something to note. Let's try another question. What do you think of iPhone?
I'm an Android fan, but I might be biased.
What do you think of Android?
It's your opinion that counts, Aaron.
So this one gives you, I suppose, a more honest opinion, and this one leaves it to you. While the personality test is pretty interesting and you can hold a conversation with either of these assistants, it's not really relevant, and you probably won't use that a whole lot unless you have kids playing around with it. And I do see my kids play around with that quite a bit from time to time just to see what kind of answers they can get. But the information that's important is what's relevant to us now. And Siri, along with Apple, has been working on that, as has Google with Google Now for some time. So if we slide over, you'll see we've got the weather, we've got stocks. It wants me to update it with interest, and it shows me news stories that I might be interested in. Apple has been doing this as well, and will give you relevant information from time to time. When it's time to leave for work in the morning, they'll usually pop up and give you the traffic report. Along with other widgets that are in here, you'll see there's travel time to home and work, but that's from Google. But Apple has been working on giving you relevant information up to date as well, but they're doing it instead of taking your data directly, they do it on the phone. So it seems to be a little bit more accurate usually on Android because they're processing the data in their data centers and sending it back as opposed to doing it on the phone. However, both have been pretty good that way. And it just depends what you have enabled on each device. So those things are nice as well on both of them. Now another thing they can both do is show us information about today. So let's try this. Show me the tech news from today.
Here's some news for Show Me the Tech News from Today.
Let's try it with Google. Show me the tech news from today.
Here's the latest technology news.
Now some of us may...
Immediately, Google Assistant brings up a little bit of a podcast that's about, it looks like 3 minutes and 36 seconds. This happens every day and it changes as you want it to. Apple gives you the relevant tech news. in reading form. So it just depends how you want to see your information. Both give you news. This is just giving you a quick brief. And depending on how you ask it, changes things too. What was the best tech news from today?
This came back from a search.
What was the best tech news from today?
Checking on that. Here's what I found on the web for what was the best from today.
So this is getting general overall best news from today, and here it pulled up CNET technology news. So they're both okay, but they're not perfect at this point when it comes to this. Let's try something else. How's the traffic to work?
There's light traffic from your location to your work, so it'll take about 28 minutes.
How's the traffic to work?
Here's the traffic.
Now, because Siri and Google both know my information, they're going to give me relevant information to show me how things are on my way to work. So it's really nice. It just depends how you like your information. Do you want it in a map immediately, or do you want it to just show you and give you that information? Both of these assistants can do a lot of different things, so let's ask them what they can do. What can you do? And here you'll see it says we can make phone calls. I use that often. FaceTime, we can launch apps, we can message, we can set up calendar appointments, ask about sports, show photos, maps, all sorts of things, music, weather, contacts, and on and on and on. We can even post to Facebook and Twitter. Let's see what Google can do as well. What can you do?
I can help you with lots of things.
And
For example, you can say things like, let's play a game, or play trivia. To see more, just swipe the options on your screen.
And here you'll see it presents information and says games, fun, reminders, what's trending now, the weather, send messages, get information about sports, set alarms, calls. So very, very similar things. We can translate, which is pretty neat, and open apps. So many similar things, get some travel information. But let's ask one more thing. Who's running for president?
President of the United States active campaigns, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Gary Johnson, and others.
And there's the others. Let's check what Siri has to say. Who's running for president?
The candidates appearing in major national polls are, in randomized order, Donald Trump, Jill Stein, Gary Johnson, and Hillary Clinton.
So both of them gave the information. Google gave images of each, so that's pretty nice. Who's the current president?
Here is what I found. President of the United States of America is Barack Obama.
Who was the president before him?
George W. Bush. According to the Telegraph, 43, George W. Bush, January 20th, 2001, January 20th, 2009, Republican presidency marked by war on terror.
Who was the president before him?
Let me have a look. Okay, I found this on the web for who is the president before him.
So as you can see, Google Assistant actually gave me information as far as contextual. So it knew that we were talking about the current president and then knew that we wanted the president before him. And we could keep going. And that's one thing that really makes Google Assistant unique. Now, Siri will do things like that as well, but it just depends on the context in the different situation. And Google has been great with AI for many, many years. And Siri or Apple is doing a good job, but they've basically focused on the simple tasks on the phone, at least according to them they have. Both of these assistants do a great job. And in my real-world day-to-day use, my main phone is the iPhone 7 Plus right now. In my day-to-day use, I really haven't found any shortcomings. Both of them pick up voice pretty well in noisy situations. I do get a little bit better voice recognition with the Google Assistant and Google overall in noisy situations. Somehow it just pulls my voice out a little bit better. But I think both of them work great. I think right now Google Assistant has a little bit of an edge, but I'd like to know what you think about that in the comments below. Both are great assistants and both do a great job. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Which one do you prefer? Which one have you used the most? Or have you used them and you like them equally? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.